Welcome to ScratchStart. In this session, we are going to see the form validator or a smart form engine. This is different from a regular form validation task we did in the JavaScript series, because in form validation task we have to write all the HTML structure here and then CSS, and then we have to write if-else logic to validate it, whether it is the right password or the wrong password, whether all the conditions are met or not. Only that's what we write in the simple form validation. But here we will use JavaScript to create the form automatically. See, in the form section I haven't did anything yet, so we will write the JavaScript so that the JavaScript will operate and then it will fill in the form. So that's what we are going to do. So for that I have created the basic structure. See, I haven't yet wrote the JavaScript, so there are only things I have created: the HTML and the heading and the button. So that's all. So now we will write the JavaScript. I have already created a variable using the identifiers. So here we have to, I have created an array called fields. This array will have each type of data we are going to enter and the character properties of it. That's all. So initially we should have a text name, right, and that will be a text, and then we will give that a label name, and then we will give id as name. And is it required? Yes, it is required. Next is email, and we will give the label as email, and id is again email, and it is required true. These are normal things we have done in the form, like in the forms. In regular form validator we will do this in the HTML structure, like type, label and id and all. Here we are doing it in in the HTML JavaScript. That's all. And we will have the password, and then we will have the label as again the same password, and then give it id as password, and is it required? True. And we don't need another thing I have created, but thinking about something, but we don't need it, so we will delete that folder. Minimum length of password we will give it as some 6. That is enough. So that's all. These are the fields we are going to add in the form, and this, those forms will have the properties of these things. So we have to now generate the form. To generate the form, I am creating a function called generate form, and select the fields array, and for each element, array element, execute a function with parameter field, and we have to create the wrapper, the label, the input, and what if the error occurs. So these are the things we are going to create. A wrapper is a regular wrapper that wraps the whole data container. That's all. So creating a wrapper by creating a new HTML element, document dot create element division. division. I'll give this wrapper a class of field. And next we have to create next element, that is we have created the main container, and now we have to create the labels. Now label document, create another element called another element label, and give this label a text content here. Labels text content as field dot label. So what the label we gave here will get filled. For the name, it will fill the field label as name, and for email and password. So it is created. Now the input, create a variable input, create a new element, as input. These are just HTML tags, that's all. These are the HTML tags we create in a simple form validation task that we are doing here in JavaScript, that's all. There is not much difference. And give this input the type we will take it from the label, the fields. Field dot type, and which input should have an ID. Put dot ID, field dot ID, and that's all. Now the next section is what if the error occurs. Const error, document, create a new element, division element, and then give this error the class list, add error, then give this error an ID. Error dot ID is field ID, concatenate the error text error, and that's all. Now we have to append all this into the wrapper. That means in the wrapper here, in this the main container. So wrapper dot append child. This is a constant, so we will be using again and again here this. So I copy this line. It is for wrap the label, the input, the error, and then in the form we have to append the wrapper. Append the wrapper. Here also give the thing we have to append. Label, and then the input, and then the error, and that's all. Now one section is finished. Now we have the whole data is created, the whole form is now created. So now we can go to the here. We haven't yet imported anything, so it won't generate. So we have to generate the form. We have to include the generate form, call the generate form function, generate form. Now we will go to the browser. See, the form is generated, and now we have to validate does the data we enter or in correct does the data we enter satisfy the conditions here. we have given the required name, ID and type, everything. So we have the data we enter should satisfy the conditions we give. So to validate, writing another function called validate. Inside that I am creating a new variable called let valid and setting it as true, and then select the fields and using for each method execute a function with the parameter field. The parameter field, and inside that create a new variable called input. And create a new element, document get element by ID, and we will import the new variable from field.id. We don't need the quotes here, so it is a value. And then create another element called error. Error as document get element by ID, field.id error. And that's all. Now we have to change the error's text content to empty. Only then we can easily validate. So errors text content should be empty. Next we can straight go to the required things. Required condition is if field is required and input value should be trimmed. Input get it as a value and should be trimmed if both are equal to empty string. If both are empty, that means it is we haven't entered anything, any input. If it is, that is true, select the errors text content, change the errors text content to $field.label. We change it is required. The value, corresponding value is required, and we should change the valid to false. And now there is a password. I have given the minimum length of the password as 6, so we have to validate that too. To validate the minimum length, if field dot minimum length is true, and inside that I am using another nested if input dot value dot length is less than the fields declared, that means fields set length, minimum length. We have to change the text content now. We have to change the errors text content to $field dot label must be at least field dot minimum length characters. If you can remember, in the HTML structure we using JavaScript and HTML, the simple form validation, we will write this as a long text. We don't write in like this ternary methods. We don't write in ternary methods, and we have to change the valid to false. It is also false. And now if everything is okay, right, we have to return to valid. That's all. Now the final step, we have to submit all the things we have entered. So select the submit button, give an add event listener, the event is click, inside that execute a function if validate. If it is not validated, that is the meaning here. If it is not validated, return is to stop the process. That means it will not be submitted. See, if it is not validated, the error text content will be appear on the browser, so it won't be submit. It default automatically mean the conditions are not met and it is not valid. So if it is not validated, we can easily return the function. And then create another variable called data. It is an object, and in the fields array, for each element the function will be executed. Field function will be executed. Inside that, create a variable called input, get by document, get element by id. We will take the element from field.id, and we will select the data array and give it a field id, and that will be taken as an input value, and that's all. Now we have to print the output directly. That is, the output is text HTML, inner HTML. Output inner HTML equal to, it is, we will write it as a HTML structure here. h3 form data, and then pre tag will include the data. That means when we enter the data here, everything, we will get the output here as an object, the name, email and password as a single object, like a JSON file. So for that, JSON stringify data null and 2, and close the pre tag. That's all. So now we have written all the logics, how to create a form and how to validate the form, and when we should submit the form. When it is everything is validated and it is everything is condition is met, we can submit, and if not, we cannot submit. That's all. So now we can go to the browser. I'm reloading it again and giving us David at hstable.com, the email, and password some David. So I click, so something is happening. We have to give it an email. remember David email.com David. So we have met the 6 digit. So there is something error here, something is not working. I will check again. Wait a minute. Hey, welcome back. Now I have fixed the codes. There is nothing error, no error here, just some parsing error. I have wrongly entered some spelling mistake, that's all. So now we will go to the browser again. Okay, again giving the name David. David at email. This is the standard Gmail email type HTML request, and password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So when I click submit, see it is created as an JSON. See, this is the output we wrote here. So that's all. So that is how we do a dynamic form. This is kind of a dynamic form, because we are not writing a huge HTML file or anything like that. We are writing doing everything using the JavaScript. So that is how we do things in a practical setup. We don't write lot of HTML and lot of CSS stylings. Most of the CSS stylings are it will be presets. You just link it, that's all. Yeah, that is it for today. And please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And yeah, I will meet you guys in the next session. Thank you. Have a nice day.